Alright, now I will be sewing the lapped zipper. So I have my 2 pieces of fabric, and I have where my zipper is going to go marked. I have a really long zipper here. I will just resize it, just like I did in the centered zipper video, to fit my new size here. I'm not going to be really persnickety about what size of zipper you're using. But first things first, what I'm going to do is put these right sides together. Remember, they are pre-finished. And I am actually going to sew from, doesn't really matter which foot you have on the machine right now, just so long as you can sew a straight line. But I am going to be sewing at 5/8 of an inch. So this is specifically, if you have a commercial pattern, that's what I'm doing it for, is a commercial pattern. If I were doing a different kind of like industrial pattern, there would be some differences in the seam allowances from each side. One side would be larger than the other. One side would be 3/4 of an inch. The other side would be 1/2 inch. But in this case, because most of you are using commercial patterns, I will just be showing you how to do it with that. So first things first, I am just going to start sewing at 5/8 of an inch from where my zipper is going to end, all the way down to the end. And I'm going to backstitch at each side. And now I'm going to go over to the iron, and I'm going to do a whole bunch of pressing. The next spot that we have to do is on the lapped zipper, is we're going to press open the bottom down here. And then look at it from the surface. Looking at it from the surface, the left side is going to be our lap, and that's usually always the case. If we're putting it on the left side of the body, which is usually where we put a lapped zipper, or at center back, which is another really common place for putting a lapped zipper, it will always put the lap on the left side when we're looking at it like this. If you were to put a lapped zipper on the right side of the body, number one, that's not really normal. It's fairly standard to always put zippers at center back or on the left side. So what's going to happen is you're just going to be able to take your hand and slide it under the lap, just like that. So take the left side, and we're going to press 5/8 of an inch under all the way down. So that seam allowance that we have, that's 5/8 of an inch, make sure you get the full 5/8 of an inch. All the way from the top, all the way down to the bottom. If anything, if you're going to err one direction on this, don't err to the don't err less towards 1/2 an inch, err towards 3/4 of an inch. If you're going to make a fudge one direction or the other. So I'm going to press this side at 5/8 of an inch, plus maybe a 1/16 of an inch. On the other side, I am going to press this smaller. I'm actually going to press this at a 1/2 an inch instead. 1/2 an inch or a 1/16 shy of 5/8 of an inch. And I'm going to do that all the way down, plus a little bit beyond where the zipper is going to end. So if this is where the zipper ends, I'm going to press it at this side. I'm going to press it at least a 1/16 of an inch smaller than 5/8, up to just pressing it at a 1/2 an inch, all the way down and beyond for 1/2 an inch to an inch. And then it can start blending back into the old seam line. So that when I pull this back, you'll notice this little nib of fabric right there. Right there. And that's important. That little nib is important. Once you are done pressing that, we're ready to go back to the sewing machine. All right. We are ready to insert the zipper into my lap zipper. I'm going to change the foot to my cording foot. So looking at my lap, here's the lap. If I pull the lap back, you will notice down here at the base that that little nib of fabric that I talked about right here is sticking out beyond the seam allowance. That's a good thing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my zipper and I'm going to line this edge up right there, right, about a 1/16 of an inch away from the zipper teeth. Just like that. And I am going to sew a 1/16 of an inch away from this fold on the fabric to hold this into place. And I'm going to start up here and come down to here, or you can start down here if you have a different zipper foot, if you want to go to the other side, and you can start down here, start underneath here, and sew up to the top. But either way, you're going to sew down this side to the zipper. And I'm going to do this 1/16 of an inch away from the edge. And you can always pull the zipper, the pole out of the way as you're sewing. And I'm putting that down all the way from the top down to the bottom. And it's important to have that little overlap, that little nib that we ironed in there, so that when we get down here to the bottom, I'm lifting up the foot with the needle down to move the zipper up to the top. It's important to have that because I don't want to tie my knot right at the bottom of the zipper. I want to, at the bottom of the hole that we've left open for the zipper, I don't want to see a knot down at the base. So I'm going to continue sewing until my knot can be on that little nib that stuck out. And that way my knot's not visible ever, and it's not visible from the surface here either. So when I open this back up, the knot is tucked back up underneath there. And the zipper is ready to get its lap. Now what I'm going to do is line up the lap where it's supposed to be, which is 1/8 of an inch over from this fold, or a 1/16, depending on how small you pressed it. So I'm going to line it up, and I'm actually going to pin this into place. This is one of those few times that I pull out the pins. I don't pull them out frequently. But notice I am being really particular about how I pin. So I am pinning from one side of the zipper tape to the other side. You can see the little zipper right there. I'm doing that all the way along here. Notice I've pulled some pins out and retried them. Don't be concerned if you didn't pin it correctly the first time. Okay, so I've got some pins. Notice I didn't do it up here because I need to access the zipper pull. So find the base of where your zipper opens, which is right there. And you're going to start, pull some long tails on your thread. Now at this point you can either tie a knot down here with back stitching, or I'll show you another method. So either do a back stitch right here, or just start and come over 1/2 inch. And then you're going to start sewing up. Make sure if you need to mark your distances, that is totally fine. As soon as I come to a pin, I'll take it out. And at this point, I make sure I know where everything's going to line up underneath, but I need to get the pull of the zipper out of the way. So with the needle down, I'm going to unzip it. I'm going to make sure that everything is lined up where it's supposed to be underneath here. And I'm going to finish stitching it the rest of the way. I keep on having some threads from my serge get out of the way, out of hand. So that is a lapped zipper. You can see the zipper is no longer centered on the seam, like on a centered zipper, imagine that. Instead, it's hiding underneath this lap right here. Just like that. To take care of this knot down at the bottom so it doesn't start unraveling, flip it over and you'll have this nice long tail. Tug on it until the loop from the surface comes to the bottom. And snag that loop and pull the top thread from the surface to the inside. And then you're going to tie this with a square knot. So I'm going to take my right thread, put it over my left thread, loop it through, pull that down nice and tight. And I'm going to take my left thread, put it on top of my right thread, loop that through the little hole, take that down nice and tight. I can do multiple knots there if I want to, but that is now finished, and there is a lapped zipper.